I think, yeah.
Hi everyone, it's Friday night and you're live with the Handicap Rugby Chat That Matters. We don't often go out on a Friday. We were, of course, meant to do it on Thursday night. I unfortunately had a personal meeting at the school that I thought was going to be a week later, so I ended up coming out a little bit, coming out a day late. The GG Gaming Bar Mad Show, I can tell you, is at 8 o'clock. It's straight after this show, so you want to have a look at that one as well. We're going to be giving away some vouchers. Gary Lenton's going to be joining there. Of course, there's Rugby World Cup weekend. I've been waiting for this weekend the whole week. 4 games to look forward to, all of which look like decent betting heats. We'll get into that now. I'm hoping, in fact, I see that my guests have arrived, so I'm going to bring them into the studio and introduce them there. Let's start off with Oracle. Now, Oracle Rugby is sitting down in Durban. He's got load shedding. Welcome to South Africa. For those of you who join us in the live chat from overseas, load shedding, a really big factor. I had it earlier this evening. Oracle's there. Oracle, you were saying you haven't got the stove, you haven't got any food for the kids, but you've got your internet, and that's all that counts.
Yeah, how's it, Brent? Friday night's takeaway night at home. I know a lot of these youngsters, millennials, call it takeout. We don't. We still call it takeaway. You go there, you take it away, and so we got the camping torch. I got a couple of candles on the table. I'm good. I got 30 gigs on my phone, and I think it goes by about a gig an hour on this show. So I'm good for 30 hours. I know you won't keep me for that long, but load shedding, I'm okay. Yeah, for those guys out there, we live with it. We used to it. Geez, I used to live in Mozambique when I was younger, and we had the power on for 3 hours a day. So we're actually doing very well here that we've got it for 22 hours a day. We're doing well.
So you reckon we should actually be grateful for what we've got? Well, I'm not so sure I'll agree with you there. Just welcome to all the boys in the live chat. Chris McGowan saying it's going to be a cracking weekend of sport. Welcome to Donovan, I think a first-time viewer waiting for some insights. And Len and Peter Paul also joining us there. Hendrik Swart, unfortunately, gives apologies. He has got load shedding and he doesn't have the 30 gig data bundle to pull you in. And then we got Sean Nicholas. It looks like he's sitting in his car in a dingy parking lot. Now, Sean, I must warn you, I've just watched a documentary with my daughter when I got home from work about Ted Bundy, the American serial killer. And it looks disturbingly like you sitting in that car at the moment. You're not driving a Beetle, are you?
No comment. No Volkswagens here. No Beetles here. So it's just action cricket for my son, and things have just gone a bit delayed. So just making a plan to be on the show.
Excellent. Well, thanks. We do appreciate you joining us, Sean. Of course, a massive weekend of rugby. We've got the 4 quarterfinals. We will touch on, I know Henrik's got a couple of bets in the Meter 10 Cup. He's made a post on the Good for the Game forum. We'll have a look at that. But essentially, the focus, of course, is going to be the World Cup. So let's start with you. We've got the big game tomorrow. It's England up against Australia. I've seen on the Good for the Game forum that the guys are very much divided on this one, on Good for the Game at the moment. I did the preview for Good for the Game. I've come out quite bullishly in favour of England. But a lot of guys reckon Australia can win this game and at the very least push them very close.
No, Brent, I think England, just looking at that Aussie team, they're playing a 19-year-old who's untested at Super Rugby level. So to throw him in the deep end quarterfinal, it could be a stroke of genius, or it could blow up in their faces. I just think the Wallabies they've been poor. They had one good game in the last 12 months against New Zealand in Perth. It all came together, but I just think England have got their number, and I think it's going to get ugly for the Wallabies. I think England by 12, 14 plus.
Yeah, that's very much where I'm looking at the moment. Let's just touch on that selection, because I guess the way Chaker's viewing this, they're going in as underdogs, and that is a gamble that he's taking, make no mistake. But I guess the way he's viewing it, Sean, is, well, rather take the gamble and it comes off and you go through to the semi-finals than sort of die wanting.
No, exactly. But I mean, it's just, I think this could be the end of Chaker if they, when they do get knocked out. I don't know how he's still, he's kept a job for so long. He's just gonna. I'm interested to see the press conference afterwards to see what he moans about. But I think that England with Farrell at 10, they've just got a good structured team. They've got a good, their forwards are good. I think they'll beat the Aussies in the pack, and I don't think that the backline of Australia is gonna fire. And I just think England will have this, they'll be in control of this game throughout.
Excellent. Well, Chris McGowan in the live chat, green there, he's saying England all day long. And I see Oracle's got a big grin of his face, because whenever you mention Michael Cheika, at one stage it was a question of, will Mourinho go or will Cheika go first? Well, Mourinho went first, but Gavin's always been of the opinion that Cheika should be right behind him. And does that mean you're on England tomorrow, Gavin?
No, Brent, I'm actually disagreeing with you guys. I'm not disagreeing. I'm disagreeing in part, I'd like to say. This is a tricky game for me, and I'd like to go England, and I do think England are the better team. But, yeah, just, what worries me here is they didn't play France. And that game, they needed that game. And all they've done is played a rubbish Tonga team. I'd like to pronounce it the same way the New Zealanders do. They played Tonga. They didn't beat the Handicap. We remember that was that Sunday morning, the first weekend. And then they came and they smashed that rubbish American team, which Tonga also smashed, in my opinion. I don't know. They didn't play France. They played a 14-man Argentinian team. They didn't get the preparation they need. They are the better team, but have they been prepared well for it? All I'm saying to you is, the guys out there that are ready to go 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 units on this game, whatever their classification is, I think you just got to have a second look at it. That's all I'm saying. I'm more likely to go plus here because it's Australia. They're rubbish, but they're not rubbish. And how good are England? We don't know how good they are. Eddie Jones, sure. I'm one of those people that I've read Jake White's book. I'm of the opinion that Eddie Jones won South Africa the World Cup in 2007. And, he's the guy that was behind it. I don't know. Jake White's done nothing since 2007. I'd like to meet the Ike. I'll buy him a beer, but I don't think he was the Ike behind it. Michael Checker's not a moron. He's also taken Australia to the last World Cup. I know there were a couple of dodgy penalties in that Scottish game, but seriously, we watched Scotland on Sunday. They're also rubbish. So Australia probably would have beaten them without that penalty anyway. So I don't know. I'm on the Australian plus here. Very tentative. It's a small play. I'm just saying, if you're on England minus, keep it a little bit lower. Don't go with granny's money. Don't go all in here because England are not they're not as prepared as they should be. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, they've certainly, Sean, England have had a different run to what was expected. So everyone expected them to go Argentina, France, and then potentially 3 big games, obviously to win the tournament that they had to go. So it would have been 5 really hard games in a row. As it happens, Argentina perhaps not as tough as expected, with Argentina getting the red card. And then, of course, the French game was off. But to me, Sean, Eddie Jones's reaction says it all. He was only too happy not to play the French game. And although you could argue they're going into this a little bit underdone, I think they're far better off than if they'd played against France and Farrell had got injured, or one of their players had seen a guy duck into a tackle and got a red card, like a Bande Aki or something like that. And for me, England are going to be ready for this. And I see Henrik is also on the English handicap, but there's enough doubters there to perhaps put me off the massive strike I was looking at.
So what I think England would look at their pool, and they thought, just get through the pool unscathed. So they've got a full squad and they're ready to go, and then they can give it horns in the quarterfinals, which is exactly what they've done. So Eddie Jones will look at his little report card and he'll say, look, we didn't set the world on fire in the pool stages, but he knows World Cups. He knows how this works. He's gonna those English are going to be all over the Australians. They've had longer to prepare. There's no question marks on the team. The team's had some good patches. I mean, the way they dismantled Ireland before the World Cup started, that was impressive. You just have to watch that game and just think, they've got good combinations. They know what their best team is. Where Australia, I don't think they know what their best team is. They're starting they don't know they fly half. You don't know. So with that alone, and the fact that Australia haven't shown much, it's all England for me. And I think I hear what Gavin's saying, but I say have a bit more on England.
Yeah, I'm going to have a nice big strike on England. Let's just touch on the total points line, Sean. I see 45.5 there at Sunbet at the moment. All of the World Cup games are priced between sort of 41.5 and 48.5. The Bok games, obviously the highest. We'll get to that low. What are you thinking here in terms of points? Are we going to get a really tight encounter, or could this be an overs game?
I'm not big on the points plays. I'll take an under if it's raining, but it's not my specialty as such. But I think looking at past results and the way this game could go, it could open up, in the second half, the last 30 minutes. It could be, Australia could be chasing the game down a couple of tries, and then, they have to go for the jugular. So that could open up gaps. And I think with that, I haven't checked weather, so I'm not too sure. But I think it would be, I'd be more an overs player just based on the way the two sides play.
Yeah, they certainly have got the potential. I see the line has crept up just very slightly. Gavin, any other thoughts for you on this game? I must say, like Sean, I'm leaving the points alone here. I'm firing. This is my bet of the weekend, everybody. I'm taking whoever's taking Australia, I'm taking you on. I'm going England. I like England to win the tournament, and I like them to beat Australia by a double-figure margin. Gavin, what else you got to say on this one?
I tell you, I say it in the office every day, Brent. I smell a bet here. I'm happy to go even 500 with you at 8.5 on England if you're interested. Or we can go tie no bet tonight if you want. I'm happy. I don't mind. I just think that Australia. Yeah. Carry on.
Yeah, no, I was going to say I'm happy to go an even 500 with you there. 8.5. We don't need to make tie no bet. We'll go 8.5. No problem. Even 500.
All right, we're on. Right now, let's talk about points. I'm like Sean. I'm not a big points player. As you know, interestingly, this particular tournament, my best play, in fact, the most stake I've put on, the most units, has been on Handre Pollard to win this point scorer thing. So, you know, I have a bit of a hand in Australia here, you know, by default, because I need them to shut down Owen Farrell. Interestingly, though, that they have put Farrell at number 10. I'm not too much of a tactician when it comes to picking a team or understanding why coaches picked a team. I mean, I made a joke the other day. Someone said Rassie Erasmus has gone 6-2 on the South African thing. I'm going, why doesn't he go 8-0 and just put 8 forwards on? But anyway, look, Australia are not rubbish. They've been in World Cups before. They've got problems with their camp. As we know, Chaika's a bit of a moron. He's great at the press conferences and he makes everyone laugh. But, you know, what do we know about him? I don't know.
We know he took a team to a World Cup. We know he took a team to a World Cup 4 years ago.
Yeah, well, he's got them to a second World Cup quarterfinal so far. So let's see. Look, I stand by what I said earlier. England are untested. England can obviously win this game. They can win it by 20, 25. But for me, it's either a small bet on Australia plus because they've had the full amount of pool games. They've got the experience. They know what they're rugby players. They're decent rugby players. And England are just not tested. That's all. My whole bet here, as small as it is about England not being tested. And I'm going to stand by that. From a points perspective, Australia, of course, they can score 20-odd points. If this line is at the low 40s, 41, 42, 43, anything under 45, I think an overs play is probably the right way to go. I just can't see England winning this 18-12 or 16-14 or that kind of thing, 30 points, 30. I just think there'll be more than 40 points here. And if you're going overs, in fact, I'd say don't go unders in a game like this. You can go unders in a South African game. They'll smash the Scottish. But this game, I'd keep my stakes low if you're going unders, and I'd keep it if you're going England.
Yeah, interesting one. I see the comment was made by Rugby Fan that this is also under the roof. So as far as weather goes, probably the only thing you've got to look at is the sort of maybe humidity levels around the time. So we don't have to worry about rain playing a role there. Cerebral Assassin going with Australia on the handicap. And then Rugby Fan also agreeing there with Oracle saying over 4.5 tries at 8-11 is not a bad bet. Now, we don't have Couch Critic here. I haven't read his previews, but he's put his previews up on the Good for the Game website, and he's headed off to the Kruger Park or something. You know, every now and again, I mean, we understand what Couch has done because he had 3 weeks off with a sore knee from work, and then he went back to work for a week, and now he's gone on leave. I mean, that week's work was just too much for the guy, so he's gone off to the bush. But you can go into Good for the Game and read his preview and see who he likes in the try-scorer markets. But, guys, I'm keeping this very simple indeed. England minus 8.5, 19-20 at Sunbet. Fire, fire, fire. And just on the point of the England-Australia game, I've seen lots of guys on YouTube doing these live streams where you don't actually show the game, but you literally talk crap for the duration of the game. And I'm going to try that tomorrow for the England game. I'm going to send you guys a link. If you come in, all the best. You can come in, come out, come whenever you want. Guys can join us in the live chat. I'm sure we'll have a few controversial yellow and red cards to talk about. And we'll also have the live betting ticking there. I'll pick one of the bookmakers' websites and we'll have that over. So we'll talk about it from a betting angle as well. So do join us. I haven't put the link up yet, but I'll have that up tonight. Join us for the whole game. We'll go through. That is, of course, ESCOM permitting. Gents, let's move on to the next game then, and it's New Zealand up against Ireland. Now, Ireland, how far from grace they've fallen in the sense that if you think at the end of 2018, they were 33-10 second favourites to win the World Cup. I think I saw 20-1 Ireland to win the World Cup a while ago. It's obviously based on some indifferent form this year. They haven't really fired in the World Cup, although they put a pretty impressive performance in against Scotland first up. And I think it was Samoa that they did quite well against. Gav, the handicap here is 12.5 points. I see on Twitter a few people are giving Ireland a chance. So the shaking of the head suggests to me that you're on the All Blacks here.
Brent, so listen, I very seldom back New Zealand minus. I got to tell you, I'm very, very seldom. For me, I look at a game like this and I say, am I going to take this plus or am I not going to have a bet? That's almost my standard when it comes to New Zealand minus. But when the English bookmakers, and let's not play around here, the English bookmakers and the Irish bookmakers are controlling these prices, or they're the ones setting them. I've got to tell you, they are absolutely 100% loaded in favour of the Irish here. There's no ways that New Zealand plays Ireland outside of Ireland and it has a handicap of 11 or 12. It's criminal. This should be 22. It's half of what it should be. New Zealand are going to teach these Irish an absolute rugby lesson tomorrow. And if you're on Ireland, I think some of these bookmakers have got a cash out button. Hit it, because don't get involved. If you're going to have a bet here, back New Zealand minus, or do not have a bet, because there's absolutely no way this plus is going to arrive. And if you've got this pipe dream or a little, I don't know, you had a memento, or you saw some sort of a sign that Ireland are going to win, that sign was wrong. It was telling you something else in your life. New Zealand are going to smash this Irish team. Whatever Japan did to them, you can just multiply. Use the time sign. Don't use a divide or a plus or a minus. This is maths. New Zealand will thump this team, and they'll put them away and race over Ireland out of the tournament. Japan already dented them. Their car is dented. Their house is smashed. New Zealand are the demolishers here. They're going to take it out and completely smash it up. And I'm worried about my Handré Pollard bet with Mwanga coming in tomorrow against this Irish. I'm worried that he's going to score 3 tries and put 15 points on his total. I'm expecting Handré Pollard to score a try or 2, but Mwanga, he can put me out if he really has a proper game here. For me, Ireland, it doesn't matter how many, what do they call it, a 4-leaf clover. There can be 8-leaf clovers. It's all over for them. It doesn't matter. It's right over. They're done. I don't know. Sean, obviously Brent's gone. What do you make of this game?
I think that the worst thing that Ireland could have done to the All Blacks is beat them twice in the last 3 games. I think that they've shaken the beehive, and New Zealand have heard about this the whole time. They've heard that Ireland's beaten them, and Ireland beat them in Chicago, and Ireland. So New Zealand are going to be angry with it, and I think they're going to come out all guns blazing. And I'd be more on the New Zealand minus than on the Ireland plus. Had this been played 2018, different story, but you can just see that the Connor Sexton's still playing well, but I don't think Connor Murray's as good as he was last year. I don't think that Ireland as a team, I think their forward pack is getting a bit old. You know, they peaked last year. I just think that the Kiwis are gonna they could put on a show. I think that they also benefit from the rest against, without Italy playing and no injuries. They've had 10 days to focus on this, and they're gonna come out firing. I think the halftime handicap on this would be a cracker. Just knowing that they're gonna come out, I think they're gonna come out angry.
Yeah, generally those halftime handicaps are half the price of half the number of the handicap. So if you're looking at a minus 11 or minus 12, you could look around and probably get a minus 5 or at worst get a minus 6. But yeah, you're right. I mean, that's less than a try. And honestly, Ireland have given me absolutely nothing. I don't know what they were doing with that. I mean, they smashed Scotland. And when they smashed Scotland that week, I looked at this and I thought, geez, I got that wrong. And I did get it wrong. I didn't have a massive go at Scotland plus that day, but I went Scotland plus, and I thought to myself, this looks a little bit too high. And I didn't watch the whole game, but I probably watched about 60 minutes of that game. And I said to myself, geez, this is crazy. Ireland have smashed these. Like, let's see how they go. And then when they came out and they played the rest of the group games, they didn't look as strong. Well, obviously, bar the Japan game, they didn't look that strong. And when they came out to Japan, guys are going for tries. I know, and I'm sure you agree with me, Sean. When you're on a minus and you look at a team where as soon as they start the game, the first penalty they get, they go for the corner because they think they're going to win the game easily. And Ireland did the same thing. And they didn't take their 3-point kicks when they had the opportunity. And what happened? They ended up losing. Look, they only lost by 6, and Scotland lost by 7. And you look at that and you go, well, what happened there? Because Ireland smashed Scotland, and Japan only beat them by 7. So I can tell you now, and you're going to hear it from me again in a few minutes, Japan are tired. They're mentally tired. They're physically tired. They should have beaten Scotland by 20. They only beat them by 7. And that tells me that South Africa is going to smash them. But anyway, back to the Irish game here. If you're on Ireland, seriously, consider hitting the cash out button or covering the other side or having a small bet. It's race over. This one is race over. You can put this result in and pay the punters. New Zealand will win this game by the first number will be a 2, and they're not going to win 2-0. That's all I'm going to say.
I'll tell you what, Oracle. Sorry, guys, I popped out for a second. There was an issue with the Facebook connection there. I tell you what, Oracle, I wish Joe Lyons was on the show tonight because I'd love to see what he says about that. Hopefully he'll catch the recording. But here I am, guys. You know me. I'm a loyal guy. I've liked Ireland. I like the Northern Hemisphere. Oracle, another even 500 plus 12.5. I'll go plus 12.5 Ireland. Are we on?
You're on.
Excellent. Go the Irish. There's a lot of people on Twitter saying...
Easy. I didn't have to ask for it.
Yeah, you didn't even have to ask for it, eh? And I mean, at worst, I think I'll be square after England give you a good old thumping in the Australia game. But okay, so we've got that one. I'll tell you what my bet in this game is, guys. And I'm just popping onto Sunbet now. 42.5 points. We got the total points here. Now, this is a game I've had a look. I don't want to mix up. I think this one is not under a roof. And I think humidity levels are expected to be pretty high. And for this game, I'm going unders here. If I look at the last 2 matches these sides have played, they've been, I think, 25 and 30 points, as I mentioned in the preview. I think under 42.5. Yeah, I think you could get 43.5. So I'll definitely shop around before I place a bet. The opening line was 43.5. I'm going unders here as my main bet. Gav, what do you think of that one?
What is? Before I make a comment, what is the Ireland points bet here? What is their 9 to 10 line?
Well, I'll have a quick look at. I'll have a quick scan down for that now, and I would imagine what are they? 12-point underdogs and 42.5. Let me not try and work it out. It's Friday night. I'm not going to be able to work it out. I'll quickly have a look for you. The Ireland points line is 14.5 points.
Under.
Ireland
will not score 14 against that New Zealand team. Sorry, not going to happen. I would sooner go under 14.5 than I would go under 42.5 because New Zealand can win this game 44-0 or 44-3 or 41-3. No, if you're going under, go under Ireland. Do not go under on the total.
Right, so Gavin, under Ireland. We've got our even 500 there. Sean, anything to add on this game before we move on?
Nah, just going to be excited to see your the recon at the end of the weekend.
That's it. It's going to be an interesting one. I might just get another thing of Gavin. Oracle Rugby has left the group again, eh? Yeah, what? Yeah, mate. Okay, so we'll move on to the next. Just a quick one, Sean. If I'd gone high on your son's runs in the action cricket, would I have made money?
I wouldn't know. He's probably batting now, thanks to you. So. No. He did well. I think he got about 20 runs. So, but the way that they spelled his surname was very interesting on the scoreboard. That was the best part of the night for me so far.
Excellent. Welcome to Brendan Vassals in the live chat. I'm not even going to explain this comment, but it does come from some correspondence we had earlier in the week. Right, guys, let's move on to the next game. So my big bet there is going to be unders on points. England on the handicap, unders on points on this game. And let's move to Sunday morning where we've got Wales up against France. Now, guys, I can tell you of all the games, this one had me scratching my head the most. The handicap here, 6.5 or 7.5 points, depending on where you shop. And, I mean, I always say, I get so tired of the cliches, which French team are going to pick up. And you never know what you're going to get with France. But, Sean, that is France. You really, it's hard to place a bet on this game without any confidence. I can also tell you that points line's about 41.5. These sides historically play very low scoring encounters. But, at 41.5, I'm not sure if I'll be getting involved. Are you anything confident for you here?
No, this game, I remember they played November International last year in France. Race starts, I think they were 16-0 ahead after 20 minutes, if I can recall. And then Wales were, I think, like 24-10 to win the game in running. And plus, I think they were plus 17 on the handicap. It was something ridiculous. And I just watched the game and I thought, geez, this French side can kill them. But then what happened? Wales came back and they won the game. So for me, if you're confident in this, then I can't see it because this could be anything. So watch the first 20 minutes, just see what French team have arrived. If it's a French team that scores 3 tries in 20 minutes, get on the Wales plus or the Wales to win. Get on that all guns blazing because that'll be the bets of the in-running bets of the year that France will capitulate. And if they are losing by 20, then you might as well. You could even take the minus 35 on Wales because you don't know what France are just tricky. So the only way I would bet on this game is if France get into a 14-0 lead, or 2 scores ahead, and then I'd get on the Wales plus or the Wales to win during the game.
Yeah, Sean, and just to mention, the RB stands for Rugger Bugger when he posts on the Good for the Game forum, guys. Now, Sean was the guy who patented the famous 10-point, the 10-point plus theory. How do you call it? Sean, explain that one to us.
No, it's a 10-point home rule. So if a team, this doesn't really count because with no home team per se, but if a team is heavily backed, a heavily backed favorite, and they go 10-0 down early, or there's a 10-point swing or 10 or more, I always jump on that favorite in running based on it works 9 times out of 10. The favorite comes back, the home team comes back, and they get in the game. And that was exactly what happened with Wales and France last year. So it doesn't happen all the time, but when the stars align, you gotta get your money ready and hit that plus in running.
Yeah, amazing how often that comes in. Now, Gavin, I will tell you that I did the Good for the Game preview, and in the end, my betcha, I am probably going to look at a points line bet as my major play, but I actually took a bit of the 5-2 France to win outright at BetExchange. But based on that comment, are we heading for an even 500 somewhere here, or are we in alignment?
No, I'm in agreement with you, Brent, but I just got to say one thing. I'm a little concerned at what Rugabugger, aka Sean over here, suggested when you asked him how many runs his kid got. I'm going to tell you, on the sidelines of the field where my kid goes to school, if I don't know, if my kid scored a water polo goal or kicked a ball over the poles for a kick, and the Oaks go, how many points do your kid get? I have to know that. Otherwise, I'm in massive trouble. So when someone asks how many runs your kid got, Sean, you throw out an answer, even if it's wrong. Just be more confident than I don't know.
I didn't want to, make him to this great cricket player, but I think he got 21 runs, so he did well.
That's not bad. Nothing wrong with that in actual. I must tell you, Sean. I watched Gavin's kid play rugby. He came up to Joburg earlier this year, and the first thing Gavin does is set a spread on the game when I arrived there. Okay, actually,
that's what Gavin has to know. Gavin has to know that because at the end of the game, he's got to pay all the parents off that went over the point.
And it was a bit alarming because his son was going to score a try and he knocked it on, and Gavin started cheering because his son had won in the handicap, So he absolutely cleaned me out that day. So it's quite an experience watching his kid play rugby there with Gavin. But this game, it's one of those. I can tell you the points line here is 41.5. So if anything, I know 41.5 is low, guys, but if you look at the history between these sides, they do play some very low-scoring games. Both sides are going to be priding themselves on defense. We know how strong the Welsh defense is. And, it's going to be interesting to see. But I do think there's a little bit of value there, France at 5-2. And there's a lot of guys who've followed Good for the Game over the years will go, it's not really a Rugby World Cup until Brent Graham stuck his neck out and backed the French and got his neck chopped off more often than not, of course. But anything else on this one, guys, before we move on to the Bok game? Gav?
Yeah, so that means, did you say 41? Because that sounds like a 24, sort of 16, 24 Welsh points, 16 French points, probably around about that line. Listen, I agree with Sean here. And going with the 10-point rule that he applies is very clever because, especially from a punter's perspective, as much as I'm a punter, I've also been on the other side, and I've been the guy setting a handicap during a game. And what I got to tell you is, with regards to a handicap in running, if the favorite scores first and gets their 7 points, I move the handicap 5. They score again, I move it 4 and 3 and 2 because I'm expecting the other team to come back a little bit. And with regards to the outside, the same thing applies. So what Sean's saying is 100% right. Guys that are playing in running, if you'd missed your bet, I know a lot of, I just missed the bet, the game started. Doesn't matter. Don't worry about that. There's a lot of in running. Almost every company or every firm offers in running. You just got to wait for your opportunity. I mean, you can take this Japanese game as a great example on Sunday. Scotland scored first. So there you're sitting at plus 2.5 on Scotland before the game. After the 7-0 Scotland, plus 2.5 Japan. After 7-0 Scotland, you're probably getting yourself something like 7.5 or 8.5 Japan plus. And what bookmakers are not understanding there is you can't jump too far when it comes to the first team scoring. You've got the rest of the game, especially if it's in the first 10 or 12 minutes. So, sorry, let me just give my little, I don't know where it is. It's a bit of a snack there. Going back to the French game. This is my lowest play of the weekend. I'm actually, interestingly, in agreement with Brent here. I think the value lies with France to win the game.
Looks like, do we lose him there, Sean?
That's scary. We've got a picture of Gavin there. Can we change that image?
Please. Sorry, Gav, we lost you for a second. You were saying France, the value to win the game at the price.
Yeah, I was saying there's a bit of value in the. In fact, if you can get France at 2-1 to win this game, and I'm not talking about you got to. I must mention something else to punters here. This is very important. This is knockout rugby. Don't take the 80 minutes to win here. You're going to get something like France at 5-2. You're going to get 2.45 them to qualify. Rather hit the to qualify button. You do not want to be involved in a draw at the end of a game in knockout rugby. I know the two guys on the show here tonight are nodding. We experienced punters will not touch an 80-minute rugby game price when it comes to knockouts. Get involved in outright because the draw price is anything from 20-1 or bigger. But most often, if you're looking for 5-2, I promise you 2.45. It sounds a bit lower. It's much better. Take the 2.45 and forget about the 0.5 that you've lost, 0.05, sorry, and move on. Because these draws can arrive in knockout rugby. We've seen it before. We saw it South Africa playing in New Zealand earlier this year. They're happy to take the kick to get the draw. I promise you, they don't care. They've got another 10 minutes each way to play. Don't get involved in 80-minute prices here because you want a little bit more. Forget about it. Take the to qualify price. If your bookmaker doesn't offer it, put pressure on him. Get him on the phone and say, Oak, give me a to qualify price here. I want to get on, please. But with regards to the French, the Welsh can beat these Oaks by 25, and the French can win by 25. Honestly, we have no idea what French team will show up. They don't like their coach. They're fighting amongst each other. If you're going to have a bet on this game, take the French plus, keep it small, and enjoy the match. Do not go big on either of them. Don't even go big on France. Have a small play here, and if you lose, you walk away and you're happy. And if you win, you're smiling because you listen to me. That's it.
At least we know you and I'll break square on this game, Gavin, because we don't have an even 500 on it all. But that brings us to the end of the third quarterfinal. So let's go on to the last one. Of course, it's a big one as far as South African fans go. It's Japan up against South Africa. Japan have had an incredible tournament, and then their win over Scotland was one of the best I've seen. But I can't help but feel that the Scots just weren't up to it in this World Cup, and that Japan are going to battle against the box. The handicap here, certainly all through the week, has been 14.5. I'm not sure if we've seen any late movement. But Sean, I'll start with you on this one. Plus 14.5 or minus 14.5. Where's the rugger bugger money going here?
This is Springboks all the way. This is, if you said to me that you're going to get South Africa against Japan in a World Cup, you're going to get minus 14.5, I would have jumped at that. That's, any time of any time. This is golden. Japan have done phenomenal. They're the fairy tale. They're the romance story. They've just been everything that you absolutely want in a World Cup. They've lit it up. But I think that they're going to come up against the South African team that is phenomenal at the moment. Just looking at the stats, we've scored the most tries. We've had the most line breaks. We've just played so well. And our pack, with the Gavin saying the 6-2 split, we are going to beat them in the forwards. That's what our game plan is. They're not going to know what hit them. Our team's, looking good. I just think that the Springboks they're going to have 2015 playing in their minds. I know they beat them in the warm-up, but this is the game that they want to just set the record straight. And I think the Springboks win this by 20 plus.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I got this preview out nice and early on the Good for the Game website because I did like the box, and I actually thought the line might move. There hasn't really been a lot of line movement so far. Another bet I like, and as I bring Gavin in on this one, I like the minus, as I said, Gavin, but I see the Japan points line at 16.5. Now, it was 20.5 when they played against Scotland, and I went unders. I know Henrik also went unders on that one, and they scored 21 points by half time, so that wasn't a success. But I can't see the same thing happening here. And one thing about knockout rugby as well, when a team gets ahead, they keep accumulating points, but the team that's chasing is forced to stop taking penalties and start kicking for the touch. And for me, I'm thinking under 16.5 Japanese points is the bet.
Brent, I'm interested to know what under 0.5 is, because I cannot even see, unless, look, they could score the first point, so that'll be a penalty. Japan will not score a try tomorrow. That's not even going to happen. Sorry, I got bad lighting here with my camping torch that I had to plug in earlier, but it's going in and out. I'll bring a candle into play here a little bit. But yeah, look. Yeah.
Betting preview by candlelight. Now we've seen it all.
I'm with Sean here. In fact, I'm just going to change his 20 plus to a 35, 40 plus. I think this is absolutely race over. If I thought New Zealand was race over, This one is triple, quadruple, quintuple, septuple, whatever they come after that. This is race over. This one's gone. If you've got access to Granny's pension, get on, because this one is absolutely race over. The media, I'm loving the media. The media, the stuff.co.nz, those oaks in England, the guys in Japan, South African journalists are going, Japan have got a chance. They're calling it the miracle of Brighton. I mean, where's Brighton? We sent a D team that day, and we thought we'd win by 60. So we got it wrong. Doesn't matter. Don't worry about that. Japan are mentally and physically screwed. This is race over. We saw Uruguay beat Fiji the other day, and they came on TV, and I'm talking about the Nick Mallets and the Nas Puertas and the Brayton Paulsers, the Ikes that come on SuperSport, and they made like Uruguay had a chance of beating Georgia. They were punch drunk after watching Uruguay beat Fiji. It's one of those games that happens from time to time. This is not one of them. What happened to Uruguay when they came back for their Georgia game? They got murdered. And Japan is going to get, it's not going to be murder. They've got what do they call that self-killing thing? The
kamikaze. Kamikaze.
This is going to be a kamikaze day. Ikes are going to take themselves out. This is race over. Japan is going to lose population.
These guys on the side, though, so we don't have to worry too much about that. But interesting, what's that, Gav?
Yeah. No, I was just going to say, this is minus all the way, and I cannot believe, I'm with Sean here, I cannot believe I'm getting another handicap that starts with a 1. Should start with a 2, or even in fact, I'm more 3 starting here than 2. This should be a minus 30 something. We forget that game in Brighton 4 years ago was minus 38. We should have dealt with him with 38 points. We stuffed around. We played the ground. We've learnt our lesson. There's no ways. This will not be close. If you're planning on even putting a coin on Japan, put your coin, give it to the car guard. You're better off with that. Don't waste your money putting it on Japan. Not going to happen.
Just Sean, I just want to mention one thing. Brendan Vessels makes a comment. He worries when guys go so big. And I know where he's coming from, because I like Gavin. I like South Africa. I'm also considering there's 2 scenarios for me heading into this game. One, I've got 1,000 Rand of Gavin's from the day before, and I've won my bets, and I'm firing, in which case I fire into the South African handicap. 2, I've lost 1,000 Rand to Gavin. I'm well behind on the weekend, in which case I fire into South Africa on the handicap. Those are the 2 scenarios. But sometimes it does worry you when it seems so bloody obvious, and all the boys are getting on, and you're thinking the bookies are the guys driving the fancy cars.
Yeah, Brent, I hear what you're saying. Totally get it. But the fact is that, like Gavin says, the media have created this machine that Japan are better. They're punching above their weights. I know they've done well. They've beaten Scotland. They did well against Ireland. Ireland that didn't have their best team on the day and also approached the game the wrong way. Scotland, you could argue that Scotland, there were 2 times where they had the ball and there was a guy on the left, and the scrum half opted to kick it forward instead of passing it. Take the tackle, reset the thing, and they could have maybe scored there. It could have been a different game. Scotland could maybe be through. But the way it worked, it's just worked into the ideal scenario that the Japanese are there. It's good when the hosts are still in the tournament. The Japanese as hosts have done better than England did when they hosted the World Cup. So, Japan, if they get beaten by 50 points against South Africa, they will still look at the World Cup with their heads held high. They've done phenomenally well. So the fact that the media are telling every single punter out there that Japan, I think that the money's coming for Japan based on that, because you're going to look at it, you're going to think, no, 2 tries, Japan are playing well. Let me, the guy on the street's going to say, no, Japan are going to do it. I'd be interested to see Super Brew. I think the whole world wants Japan to win, and then obviously just us in South Africa want the box to win. But in saying that, we've all been brainwashed to Japan or this side that are better than they actually are, where they're not. This is Japanese rugby. This is the Sunwolves from Sunwolves in Super Rugby against a Lions team, a South African team. That's what it is. You'd never take, if the Sunwolves got to the quarterfinals of the Super Rugby against the Crusaders or the Lions away, you would never take them on plus 14. I don't care what anyone says. This is a Springboks minus 14.5 is a gift. And if we're on this is golden. That's all I'm going to say. I'm with Gary. I don't think 13, but I think 14.5 is golden.
I think you make some good points on the media there as well. That the more they build up Japan, of course, the better for us punters who want to get on the minus. Just looking at the points line, 48.5. The fact that we're on the minus is definitely not a game to go unders for me, because there's nothing worse than punting the team minus and punting unders total points. And while you're shouting your minus, at the same time you're thinking, go Box, but not by too many, And I've done that a few times. I'll just tell you, it's not a pleasant way to watch a rugby game. So I think we're united on this one. Anything else on this before we do a quick wrap up and look at any other rugby this weekend, Sean?
Nah, just Springboks all the way. This is going to be this will be the game that unites the country, and us three on the panel will be the happiest in the world at the end of this game.
Right, and Gav?
Yeah, I was just going to say, Sean's right. The problem with the media here is this particular tournament, and we've spoken about big games before. We've spoken about South Africa playing New Zealand, wherever, and we've spoken about Super Rugby finals. But the problem with this game is there's so many more people in the picture now. Guys that have never had a bet, don't know anything about rugby, been sucked in. People that were 16, 17 years old in 2015 are now ready to punt, and they're listening. And they don't know. They're reading the media. And one of my mates, and I'm gonna mention his name on the show, is Mark Greenway. He's a writer for IOL, so for independent media. And he said Japan will never make it to the quarterfinals, and he got that wrong. And he's completely switched. This Ike has flipped his coin, he's lifted his chip, and he's now telling us that South Africa are going to win. And I've got to tell you, Mark Greenway, if you're watching the show, well done. You finally saw the light. This Japanese team is punch drunk. They are euphoric. They've won their tournament. They've done what nobody expected them to do. They won the pool. They got out of the group, but that's it for them. It's race over. They have nothing left in the tank. And this 6-2 split should have been a 7-1 or an 8-0 from Rassie. Rassie's not a mug. I'm going to go back to my comment I said many times on the show before. He used to sit on the Free State Stadium on the roof with his walkie-talkie. That is not a mug. He knows what he's doing. He is ready for this game, and they will absolutely demolish this Japanese team. I won't know where they come from.
We're certainly looking forward to that one. I see Sean's connection must have gone, or maybe his wife told him his son was sitting on the verge of a half century, and he felt he better go.
He's on 43, not out.
Just quickly then, Gav, your best bet of the weekend. I think it's safe to say that it's the Box on the minus.
Yeah, sorry. That's another thing I was going to point out earlier. Sorry, I'm glad you mentioned that now, Brent. Is if you agree with me and you're on the minus South Africa and you're on the minus New Zealand, do not take your bet tonight. It's Friday. I have not taken my bet yet, but I'm ready to press the submit button because tomorrow morning at 9:13 or 9:12, depending on how slow your internet connection is that's when you get on. In fact, never mind that. Australia and England are playing. 12:13 or 12:12 is when you take your bet because the public and the mugs out there will push this South Africa minus down and they're going to push the New Zealand minus down. Wait, do not get excited. If you're seeing 11 tonight, you'll probably see 10 tomorrow. And if you're lucky, depending on your bookmaker, you might even see 9. Hang on for South Africa and hang on for New Zealand. If you're worried, you're going tile shopping like a mate of mine tomorrow and you're going to be lurking around the malls with his wife, take your bet now because you don't want to miss out because you're somewhere else. But if you've got time and you're going to be hanging around the TV tomorrow or the internet or however you're watching your game, take your bet as late as possible. Obviously, some bookmakers have got a time function. The game doesn't start exactly at 12:15 and they switch it off. Take it at about 12:10, 12:12, 12:08, that kind of thing, South African time, because that is the best price you're going to get. Before that, it's worse. Don't take it tonight. The money is coming for Japan Plus, and the money is coming for Ireland Plus because the dodgy mugs in the media have told the world that they are in this race. They are not in this race. Don't worry about that. Do not listen to them. With regards to France Plus or France to win in Australia Plus, have a small bet. It doesn't matter if you take it now, take it tomorrow. For me, it's academic. It's small. I know I'm involved with Brent here. Small money for me. I'm not worried about it. My big plays are South Africa minus, New Zealand minus. If you're having one double this weekend, take those two. You will not be sorry.
Excellent, Gavin. Just to mention, Sean has popped up, but he did send me his other bets. So just to wrap up, from my point of view, I like the two bets. I like England, but I must admit South Africa on the minus and Japan under 16.5 points. Also very solid place for me. Henrik, who unfortunately couldn't be on the show due to load shedding, he likes Wellington as his best bet in the Meter 10 Cup this weekend. Wellington to beat Canterbury. And I see Sean has gone for a double. Wellington minus 1.5, Hawke's Bay minus 7.5. So he also likes Tasman minus 17.5. So the boys do have some meter 10 cup fancies. I would suggest if you're not on the Good for the Game forum that you log on to Good for the Game, look for the forum, and you'll see our rugby thread where guys are posting bets. So if you like anything on the English Premiership this weekend, there's Premiership Rugby, and of course the World Cup and the meter 10 cup as well. We'll get that done. But Gavin Cohen, Oracle Rugby, good of you to join us. Are you going to be able to stay tuned and watch the GG Gaming Gone Mad show at 8 o'clock? Gary Lenton joining me.
Listen, Brent, I got 30 gigs. I don't even think, this show's been on, 45 minutes? I reckon I used half a gig. I got nothing. I don't watch porn and other dodgy stuff that uses up internet, so I'm okay. I got lots. I can do this all night. You want to keep going? We'll keep going.
Excellent. Well, we'll log off this one now.
One more thing. Hold on, Brent. I just saw a comment come in here.
Yes.
Wouldn't it be funny if Japan won? Well, I got to tell you, wherever you're from, in that family, rugby fan, it ain't going to be funny. So it's going to be somber from now on. Japan have less than 0 chance. Mathematically, that starts with a big line, a minus. No chance. Less than 0. Japan will not win this game. They cannot win this game. It's not going to happen. Do not put money on it. You can tell your girlfriend in private and 1 or 2 of your mates that don't punt, but do not stand up on the table at work and shout out in the canteen that Japan can win, because they're not going to win, and you're going to look like a mug.
Excellent. Well, guys, just don't forget to join us tomorrow morning for England Australia Live. Oracle will be in there as well. And, of course, him and I have got the even 500 Rand bet there. Thanks to all the boys who did join us in the live chat. It was great having your contributions. And, yeah, please go onto our YouTube channel now and look for the link to the GG Gaming Gone Mad show. I think Gary Lenton is going to be in generous mood this evening. So looking very forward to that show as well. Oracle, thanks very much for joining us. Thanks also to Sean Nicholas. Sean, it was great having you on the show, and hope your son made that 50 that you were hoping for. And just let's let Kamal Chowdhury have the last word. Oracle, unlimited gigs and unlimited insight. And unfortunately, sometimes unlimited access to his granny's pension fund, which can cause quite a few problems. Guys, thanks very much. We'll see you in about 13 minutes for GG Gaming Gone Mad. That's live at 8 o'clock.